right, here is the video review for the Bandai Robot Spirits GIPSY Avenger from Pacific Rim Uprising. Now, I found this yesterday. I found the Wave 2 figures, which is Obsidian Fury, Guardian Bravo, and Saber Athena. At a Toys R Us we hit after I'd taken the car to get the oil change yesterday. We were all out and about. And they were $30, and I thought they were $20. I thought I had seen them at Toys R Us for $20, and I was like, wait a minute. One, I don't know if I want to. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know if I want to spend money on these guys. $30 on these guys. And if I get one, I'd much rather it be GIPSY Avenger, since that's kind of the hero mech. And personally, what I think is one of the cooler designs, although they're all actually pretty cool now. But so yeah, I was looking for it, and I was asking, and it turns out that one, just for reference, GIPSY Avenger, one, I think has better paint apps overall. And if I get any of the others, we'll compare that. But it has a polish to it that the others didn't seem to pop out of the package when I saw them the way that GIPSY does. But GIPSY also is, in fact, only $20. It's kind of a get your feet wet, because I know most people are probably going to want GIPSY right off the bat, and making it at an affordable price point, you kind of get a, hey, let's see what this can do. And when you figure out what it can do, you'll be more inclined to spend the $30 on the rest each. And I think that's probably a smart move, because once you start playing with these things, you see how impressive they really are. Quick size comparison: it's a little larger. I mean, granted, he's a little smaller for a Marvel Legend, but there he is with Marvel Legends Homecoming Spider-Man. So they're roughly-ish that scale. Some of the larger Marvel Legends are a little bigger than him. Spider-Man here, as you can see, is a little smaller. Just to give you a basic idea of how big he is. And if you'd like a more empirical measurement with a ruler, to the tip of his shoulder armor pieces here, it's just under 7 inches. About 6 3/4 inches to the top of the head. Just to give you a rough scale of how tall he is. And when you open the package, these back pieces here come detached. Each side comes unpegged. You just peg it right in here to the back. And you can remove them for like either battle damage or just to get a few extra poses. Sometimes these will block some of what you want to do. You also get, he comes with 2 fists. You get 2 interchangeable hands, which will show off here momentarily, and then 2 separate forearms, one with the blade, one with the gravity sling. The gravity sling is built in. You can't pop it off and swap it. But let's talk about the base posability of this figure, because it is incredible, really right off the bat. Not only is it super posable, like it's crazy how many poses you can get it to take, and not just that, but just the ease with which he takes them and holds them is pretty impressive. That's not the greatest pose, but like the leg, you can see you can actually lift his leg all the way up to his head if you want. You could get him to balance. I'm not going to spend the time to make him balance here in this position, but it is possible. I've seen some people do it. But yeah, so the head, going over the joints, the head has a ball joint up here at the head itself, and then a little bit of forward and back motion at the base of the neck, so you can get it out of the way and move it around for various things. I'm going to pop some pieces off here intentionally, because the shoulder armor comes off, and you can see it's on a ball joint, so it gets out of the way, socked in up here. The shoulder is at a ball joint right here, and then even in the body itself, it's a double-ended ball joint, and then even the socket in the arm itself, you can see, rotates around to really get a lot of range in these arms. So like if you want to come up more, rotate around some up. You want to bring it back more, rotate it so that, and again, rotating it back can be a little difficult, but now it can come back further. Really just crazy, insane how articulated that shoulder is. You got the bicep swivel just below that. You got dual hinged elbows here. Again, the swivel's up here. There's nothing here at the elbow. And that's one of the few drawbacks here, is that the forearm itself doesn't swivel. That would be nice aside from all the way up here. There's no independent swivel below this. And part of that's because of the swappability, which we'll show off. But the wrist and the wrist guard itself also swivel, which is a nice function. And then the wrist itself, even the fists, ball joint into the fist, and then there's even it's a double ball joint here as well. So you've got a lot of good range of motion on the fists. He does have a torso joint, and it really allows him to lean back more than it allows him to lean forward. It's not a full ab crunch, but it does give you some rotational options. And I wish that were a little better. But, oh well. The waist is particularly crazy because while this is one solid piece, this little kind of, the blue here that comes down and around and under is one solid piece, but the gray piece, silver piece inside there, you can see it's actually on a ball joint. It rocks side to side within the armor, as well as has some, again, it's blocked once you get to the legs around, but some decent rotational joint up in there. And then you've got a ball joint coming out to the leg, again, a double ball joint, one in here, one in here. The thigh swivel piece right here, also a ball joint, so it can come out and rotate, so you can even bring the hips out for some wider stance poses and support it. It's crazy. And then they still have the thigh swivel. Dual hinge knees, which allow them to fold all the way around. Again, the swivel is up here. There's nothing below the joint here. And then there's a double ball joint at the ankle as well, although limited, just due to the shape of the armor. But there's a ball joint up in here and a ball joint down in the foot itself, which, like I said, really allows you to get some crazy poses out of this thing. Let me go ahead and put his shoulder armor back on. So yeah, one of the things that so many people often try to show off, like, this thing's super posable. It can do the Ironman pose, the little superhero landing pose. Not only can GIPSY do it, it's one of the better figures to get into that pose just for pulling it off, and it does it almost effortlessly because you can just bring the leg up and around and rotate the torso a little bit, bring the fist down, rotate the head, but you can bring his leg all the way up here, bring this leg back, bring his arm up. And now granted, I'm not getting it 100% here. Again, if you pull this off, you can probably get it in an even better position for it. I've done this better, but just for the sake of showing off how quickly you can get him into that Ironman landing pose. And he sticks it. I mean, like, it's just, I mean, look at that. And it didn't require a lot of wrestling of joints. Like, there are several figures who can get to a decent approximation of that pose, but it's always kind of twisting and bending and just making sure everything's lined up just right. And you can do that. Like I said, if I spent a few more minutes lining that up, I could get it into an even better version of that pose. But just how quickly you can get it into various action shots, because all those joints allow you to reposition everything. And again, like I said, if you want to really tweak that shoulder armature to rotate it back for a specific pose, you can take the time and do that. But just playing with it. It's fun to just play with. Without having, it's not a hassle to play with, like, or pose like a lot of figures can be. There's a lot of figures out there who have some crazy articulation, but it's all tweaking and bopping, and you got to tweak it just right, and this just works. So the swappable parts, you've got his regular fists. They're just solid fists. You've got two open hands, which the ball joint's on the back. You can get a little bit of posability out of them with that double ball joint at the wrist, but they're not going to bend flat or anything. But it does allow you to do the power up fist into pose. And again, I could tweak that to look better, but for the basic pose, it was that easy. I really am. I'm going to end up spending so much money on these things. So yeah, you can do that. You can swap out, again, if you want to have him do both hands, you can make him sassy with his hands. So at some point, I stopped the video, and it may have been I was adjusting something and actually stopped at pushing one of these side buttons. Oh well. So you saw him with the. I've since swapped him back because I shot a good probably 5-6 minutes of video before I realized it. But we had his sassy hands on, and you can do that. Now we'll go ahead and talk about his armaments. He's got his sword arm here, which again, you don't get an extra hand on there. You can swap out one of the other two. It's really more worth it to swap out the fist because while you can get this hand on there, it really doesn't work with the sword there unless you really want it to look like that. And if you do, it works. So you swap off the forearms, and it's just like a little keyhole shaped connector in there. You just pop the forearm off, pop the fist off, connect this. Be careful with this. One, you don't want to poke it, and two, you want to hold it in such a way that you're not going to risk either stabbing yourself or bending and snapping the sword blade. But it's not difficult to swap the forearms out. You just kind of push the keyhole in and click until it kind of, you don't hear it click, click, but you'll feel it kind of clump into place there. And then put his fist back on. And then pop off this forearm. And this one, you just pop off the whole forearm. You don't need to worry about the fist, although grabbing it I did. And then pop his gravity sling forearm on. If I can get it. This one is more difficult than the other forearm, and I'm not sure why. Come on, go in. Ironically, it did not give me anywhere near this much trouble the first time I shot this. There we go. Nope. 1 second. All right. So pulled it behind the camera and literally, like, as soon as I got it and looked at it, I just went blink and plopped right on. You stupid pain in the butt. Anyway, it really isn't difficult to swap these things out. So there he is with his gravity sling weapon and his sword weapon. Again, nice translucent plastic here on the blue with the silver detailing. Just overall, I feel like he's a slightly nicer package than the other mechs and $10 cheaper. So, yeah, if you're curious about the line, I do highly recommend picking up GIPSY Avenger here, checking him out, and giving it a go. Because if you spend $20 and you feel like, you know what, that was good, I don't need to spend any more on that, then you've got a great figure. If you really enjoy it, you'll see that it probably is worth the extra $10 for the other ones. Like I said, the other one's definitely, like, he's definitely just got a fit and finish that's a little bit above and beyond the others. And like I said, GIPSY, I think for $20, absolutely worth picking up if you have any interest in Pacific Rim or checking these out. The others, I think, really depend on, I would see the movie, either you really, really like the design, or see the movie and pick one of your favorites and get one of them. There are kaiju. Robot Spirits also has the Sophie Spirits, I think is what they're called. They're like Sofubi. They're not, they're vinyl figures. They're posable, like they've got like up and down shoulders and wrist swivels and like their hips. Kaiju, but they're not super posable like this, and they're a little bit more expensive. I think it's $40 for Raijin, which is the first one that's out. And Shrike-Thorn or Thorn-Shrike or something, I think is the second one, who's coming out later this year. There's another company, I knew the name of it 10 minutes ago when I was looking at them, but there's another company that's making larger, just all vinyl kaiju, and maybe we'll get one of those. The one that I want hasn't been announced yet. I'm hoping that the Sophie Spirits will get to it. Especially since like they've been one came out, they've announced the next one. I feel like they'll get to the four main ones from the movie, and I hope they do. Raijin is tempting just to have somebody for GIPSY Avenger to fight. I don't know if I'm going to get more of these. A lot of it depends on, one, if I can find them. My Barnes & Noble had one of him and a couple of Bracer Phoenixes yesterday. I did see all the way down in Colonial Heights, which is a good drive from here. I'm not driving all the way down to that Toys R Us on the hopes that they still have the Wave 2 figures there. They did have all three of the Wave 2 figures. They had Saber Athena and Guardian Bravo and Obsidian Fury, and I definitely want an Obsidian Fury and possibly a Guardian Bravo, and maybe even a Saber Athena. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of it really depends on if I find them, how I'm feeling that day, I think. If I happen to walk in, because my Toys R Us, I tend to hit it 3 or 4 times a week, just even before the closing sale, just on a regular basis. I literally drive right past it on my way to work. I pop in, I look. And if some of these happen to show up there, especially at the, if they start discounting things beyond 10%, and some of these start showing up there, I'm absolutely going to nab some. So we'll see. Like I said, Obsidian Fury I would really like to get. Then after that, probably Guardian Bravo, and then maybe Saber Athena, and then Bracer Phoenix, and then Titan Redeemer, I think would be the order I would get them in. I would love to find... Supposedly my Barnes & Noble has Raijin, and that will be tempting as well. I didn't see it on the shelf the other day, but to be fair, I wasn't really looking because I didn't realize it was out yet. But anyway, Gypsy Avenger, good, solid figure. Definitely, I think, a cut above Marvel Legends for the price point. Beyond, like, definitely worth, like I said, if you have any interest in these, find one of these and check it out. Because at $20, good deal with all the little bonus parts and stuff. And then go from there. Make your decision from there. But definitely, if you have any interest in these, he's worth checking out.